Hey, you there. Just wanted to let you know you are now listening to the AK Mindset Podcast.
Yo, welcome back, guys, to another episode of the AKWatch. Today is episode 4 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and it was a great episode. But today with me, as always, is the boys. Speak to them, please.
What's good, guys? Glad to be back. And JJK hype. Everybody knows my difficulties with this series, but this couple of episodes have been lit so far. So here for enjoyment.
Yo, what's up, people? Back again with another AKWatch discussing the series, which is Jujutsu Kaisen. Back with a very interesting episode, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, I'm going to ask a question. What do you guys think about this episode in general before we go into details like that? What do you think about the fill of the episode? Let's go Daniel first.
I thought it was pretty good, probably, I think they've kept increasing the level every week, so I'd say, this is, probably up there with some of the best episodes this season, even though it's only been 4, but I'd say presentation-wise, and then how they adapted certain things, I thought it was done really well, so I enjoyed it overall.
No, what about you, Gojo?
Yeah, likewise, great viewing experience as I've come to expect over the last 3 previous episodes, and just the dynamics with the characters, seeing certain character growth and development, and coming against adversity and overcoming and reaching new heights, as well as kind of coming to people have a new perspective on the world they live in because of things that have taken place. So overall, very much quality.
Yes, I agree as well. And like you guys said, the quality just seems to be at a high level. They haven't dipped in form, and it's crazy because it's only 4 episodes in, and it's been amazing. It's been a good ride so far. But going to the episode properly, we start off by I think they just reminded us of our trauma a little bit again at the start, and they showed the different kind of angle of Toji doing his madness. But then there was a scuffle or a fight between Toji and Geto. What do you guys think about it? What do you think about the choreography of the whole fight and how we ended up? We'll go Rochelle first.
Well, I think obviously coming from the fight we saw last week and how hyped we've seen my guy become in this, last couple episodes and just take over. I was kind of, happy and excited, but I wasn't expecting to see Toji back in action so quickly. And we didn't really get a full-fledged out fight. It's kind of obviously Geto initial shock. How is this guy even here? He's can't even fathom that he has reached this point. And then obviously Toji really being in his element, showing that he possessed more than great or proficient hands, but he also has a high level of IQ regarding the school systems, protocols, and how to kind of advance or use his lack of curse spirit to his advantage and infiltrate and put himself in the best position. And I like seeing a character like that flex a bit. You can see how how strong they are in all qualities of strength and just brain or cognitive ability. But yeah, my guy, he continues to show out.
Agreed. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I agree. I think what this fight kind of showed, I liked what this fight, how it showed his thinking process, just about how, especially when he was talking about Geto said, oh, we didn't leave any residuals behind, and he's just you left plenty behind. It's just because you're so fixed into the sorcerer point of mind, you don't consider ordinary things like footprints, smells. So I thought that was really insightful. And then just the choreography, the way he was handling all the different variety of curse spirits that Geto was throwing at him. And then it also showed how important him having the special grade cursed weapon, the Spirit of Heaven, I believe. I think that spirit, the one with the scissors, would have given him problems if he didn't have that. He was just able to slash out of the simple domain and get the win. And then he just dropped that cold one-liner about monkeys and went about his day.
The man's so cold. It has one-liners for days. One-liners for days. Obviously, we don't take too seriously what people on the internet say, but I just wanted to pick your brains about how strong Geto was at this moment. Right now, from what we've seen in the anime, people are saying like it was too easy, that it was defeated really easily, and the fact that he even spared his life, it felt like it was a easy win. What is your guys' opinion on that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or do you just think it was like what you expected for Geto's power level at this point?
I came with no expectation, but I think it's good to be able to see a character at one point when they weren't everything that we know them to be, so we can have an idea or conceptualize somebody's development and growth. I think that's really important for us as viewers when we're engaging with certain characters. So I'm not taken back by how easily he was handled or kept up with, and how surprised people might be about that. It just shows, like Daniel was saying, the level at which Toji's at. That I think it's one of those when you have to kind of give more props than take a bad look or bad perspective on somebody else. You have to give Toji the props in just being able to compete at such a high level against somebody who's able to manipulate curse spirits at such a high level. Like the way my man sliced up the Rainbow Dragon curse in half, like fully splitted it. I was like, what is happening? And I just love his confidence as he does it. Man's always like smiling, like he really enjoys the battle. He really enjoys conflict. And even in the midst of adversity, when it feels like he can't even compete, he still goes full out. Like he has no fear in his heart. He's just on attack mode. So Geto, maybe you can expect more, but I don't think we should be like too harsh. Like everybody starts somewhere, innit?
That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, even saying like everyone starts somewhere, he's still pretty strong. It's just Toji is an anomaly. Like he's literally probably one of the few people who could reduce Geto to that state and weaken him that much. And you have to consider as well, this is probably the first time they're dealing with someone who has zero curse energy and is just a physical monster. So I think people who are like Geto is weak are wrong, because he's a special grade sorcerer. So that already tells you the level of strength he is, because he's still in school as well. So that's another thing to consider. And the variety of curse spirits he was throwing at him just shows how accomplished he has been. So I don't think I was disappointed with the level Geto showed. I think he was quite competent. It's just even like you can tell he's competent because Toji didn't even kill him, and he said, "Oh yeah, because you've got curse manipulation, I can't just kill you because I don't know what you're gonna throw at me after you die." So this shows that even after he beat him, he's still on guard against what Geto might be able to do.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think I was really surprised because there's some few reactions from this episode, because I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this. Then as I do, you go on the internet and just be surprised what people say. But I think this one was odd specifically because of the way I saw it from my viewpoint, because I was more impressed with Toji. I didn't even think about any kind of disappointment or like a letdown when it comes to Geto's side. Because like, wow, Geto's really strong. Look at all the things he's throwing at this guy. And I was just impressed with how prepared Toji is as a person. Like even going back to what Daniel said, from the fact he like tracked them just because of like footprints and stuff like that, to the very moment he hid his own like that cursed spirit in his own belly. It's like, well, since I'm invisible myself, that means whatever I hide in me is technically invisible. So he was so thought out, it was so planned, and it was just, from my opinion, it was like so hard not to be impressed with him, even down to the very moment when he was like, oh, you should technically kill Geto. But I was like, no, if I kill him, then the possibility of like all the spirits, if it's taken in before, just exploding, which means I have to do more work than I have to, and I don't want to do more work than I need to. And what if, like, he's always thinking, and he was always outside the box. I just thought, from that point of view, it was very, very impressive from Toji. And I don't know how people like reverse it. I was like, well, Geto should have done better. It's like, well, if you took out Gojo, I don't expect Geto to do any much better than Gojo did. But it's people's point of view. But I think it was Toji just. I think this episode, as well as last episode, just portrayed how incredible he is as a combatant in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. But moving on, we then see him go to the organization, and they kind of not the founder, but one of the guys there kind of spoke through his feelings about the staff plasma vessel and everything. So I just want you guys to see your opinion on how you think. How do you think? Was it, even though I know some people have read the manga, but was it surprising when you read it what they were thinking and how they went about things? So I'll go down first.
I think what I just took from that is just how, similar to real life, how extreme cultists can be in their view. Because I think you mentioned even if Tengen caused the destruction of human society, he just said that's just the way it has to be, and it just kind of shows how stubborn they can be and fixed in the path and not unyielding, and they just kind of be a bit crazy sometimes as well. So that's the one thing I took away from it, because like the way that you're spending all this money just to get one girl killed and you're happy about it, it's not the actions of a sane individual.
That's so true. I was just surprised with just the reaction to like a dead body in front of you. It's just like, oh, finally we did it. It was when I read it first and now it was just like an odd kind of experience, and like just double down on like, that's not normal, bro. That's not a sane individual. That's someone who's been like brainwashed for like a long, long time. It's literally a cult. But what do you think, Joe?
Well, first, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like watching this is like experiencing it for the first time, because I can't even lie. I can't remember anything that's happened in the manga. Like this, you might have expected this. I was in total shock. I was like, what? Cults, religious organization versus sorcerers? I was like, what am I watching? But yeah, it kind of interests me in regards to like when any kind of powerful organization type will always produce a counter force that is either against it or competing with it in somehow. So you're always going to get situations like this when like obviously the school and what they're doing and sorceries, other people are going to have different ideologies and moral compasses that reject or are fearful of that. So they're going to combat that by doing extreme stuff, like this case, going out of their way to assassinate this young girl. So in that aspect, I'm not surprised. I was just kind of the leader or one of the leaders mentality kind of scared me in regards to how easily he's happy to just be like dogmatic on his principles and ideas, even if the destruction or the whole of mankind was to take place. He's like, I don't really care, like Daniel mentioned. So it's also kind of interesting that he also brings up how the lack of morals that assassins have. You know what I mean? They can work with anybody, and that's kind of makes sense why my guy's agent wasn't trying to chill with him too often afterwards, because when you're close to somebody with that kind of mentality who is not restricted by moral principles, there and anything goes. You just have to have the right price. So yeah, it was pretty interesting, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But even the agent himself, like, I wouldn't want to hang out with him. Kind of mentality is just be comfortable working with people like this. But just to touch on like the cultism and like the mindset, and like even people like this, like I think killing them or death just fast forwarded a little bit to the future in the episode. But killing them doesn't seem like it's worth it, because they're so far gone. That's not the people you want to target. You want to target like the people who did the brainwashing on the founders, because these people are just like blindly following. So such a incredible degree. It just feels like they were so ready to like, well, if Tengen dies and we die too, it is what it is. And it's just a weird kind of mindset. Like, these people are so far gone, and yeah, it was just I think just a touch of like brainwashing and cultism in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen was a surprising touch. And when I first read it first in the manga, and when I experienced it again now. But going slightly into the main event of the episode per se, we see Gojo come back after the agent said, "Nah, bro, I don't hang out with you."
From the dead.
It just rose up, and first of all, we get explanation of how he mastered the reverse curse technique of basically healing himself. And in the manga, I was surprised because watching the animes only react to last episode, it's like, how did he survive this? I was like that in the manga too. It's like, this doesn't make sense. Do my eyes deceive me? Gojo's I saw Gojo. He's an adult now, teaching students, but this guy's dead. How did he survive that? But the explanation was given, and I just wonder, what do you guys think about the explanation? Were you satisfied? Was it like a aspal, as the people say, or was it like, oh, makes sense? When it considers like the rules and regulations set by Jujutsu Kaisen already. We'll go down first.
I would say it made sense to me, at least. Just how he discovered it. I mean, on the brink of death, a lot of type things happen. Time slows down, that kind of feeling. And then the way he said that he was able to see the true essence of curse energy. And in maths anyway, if you times a negative by a negative, you get positive. So when they said that, I was like, okay, fair enough. I can understand how he's able to do that then. And I think he's just like it was desperation, and he gambled, and he came through on the other side, fortunately. So yeah, I didn't really have any issues with it.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, likewise. The thing that kind of went through my head at the time was post-death clarity. Especially how my guy was elated in that, and just in his zone. So revealed to him through death is not something that is surprising. There's some extremes that, especially with the nature of the technique, that probably needs to be gone through for you to, reveal like the whole essence of the potential. It's just super cool, the reverse curse technique. Very useful. I think everybody should have that, just in case. You never know when you're going to run into a Toji. You never know. I've seen the YouTube videos spammed how to get a body like Toji. In 5 years, there's going to be a bear man looking like Toji if you don't be careful. So you better everybody prep well. But overall, I was just kind of taken back by how tranquil Gojo was. Like he understood everything. He was a different being. You know what I mean? Like a different, totally person. And death will do that to a person, I've heard. So we should not be too surprised.
But yeah, I agree with both of you. I think within the rules that have been set by Jujutsu Kaisen world already, we knew about the reverse technique and everything, and it stated like at one point he just gave up on like attacking and just more on surviving. But it made sense to me personally. But there'll be people out there calling like articles and everything. But I think calm down. Actually watch the episode before you speak. But yeah, it made sense, and I think it's elevated Gojo to like a high state of mind, basically. Then we finally got into the fight, the big fight, Toji versus Gojo part 2. Toji said, "No, this is the main event, bro. This is when it's supposed to kick off." He added this chain to his weapon, and it began. Then we finally get to see Gojo pull off the red at that age, and finally get to see purple. And yeah, man, it was amazing. And the famous line, that we know and love was displayed. So first of all, what do you think about that? I saw people, again, this one of the when people were complaining about the panel was so much better than the anime. I don't know why people compare so much personally, but let me get you guys' views on that kind of specific low and the honored one part of the episode. Go with your first.
Yeah, man. It was like a crescendo of the last 4 episodes, like a last stand, very beautiful, elegant. We saw Gojo in harmony, or perfect harmony with himself. He looked very blissful. We just been able to now master and showcase purple, but also showcase red before that, and we saw the destructive capabilities of that, which is crazy. He seemed like he was in synergy with everything. Like it was very godlike. How he was floating, very majestic. It was crazy. And then, like, to contrast that, we see Toji kind of comprehending, because we see how analytical and fast he is. Like, he understood. It's crazy because he understood more than I've seen a lot of people understand what's happening. And in terms of Gojo's ability and stuff, and how he's mastered it, understood that swiftly. And you can see to some degree he was aware that he could not compete. Every time he was mentioned, like, something's wrong. Like, that was his instinct telling him, bro, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. If we don't get out of here, we might be... we don't have no reverse cursio on us. We're not ready for death. When we're gone, we're gone. So that's what we're looking at. But like Toji has continued to be forthright in his trust in his ability, and honoring the battle and freely committing to it, even though it's crazy. That how can you compete with that? Like, if I saw a guy floating in the air doing what he was doing, 10 toes,
I'm dipping, bro.
10 toes down, I'm gone.
Well, to be fair, at that point, is there a point? If it's floating in the air, always says not to teleport to me and kill me. But yeah, there's a frightening sight, to be fair, seeing someone so elated after being killed, basically.
Bros on vibes.
It's crazy. But Daniel, what do you think about the fight on specifically the Island and the Honored One kind of panel?
Well, I guess in terms of the fight, I think it just highlighted that, I think Gojo was talking to Megumi at the start of this first season about he was trying to assess how crazy Nobara is. And I think this showed me that he's also got that level of crazy in him, just the deliriousness, the way he's just talking when he first pulls up. It just shows you he's tapped in the head. He's strong, but he's tapped. But when he's just high on life, I alone, I'm the honored one. I think he just believes in his source. He feels like he's reached a new level in his ability now that he's got red, and that I guess he's got this new outlook now that he's got the reverse curse technique down. And then Toji, I think he was overconfident and he overstepped himself and stopped listening to his logic, because he was even saying the whole time, it doesn't feel right, and he should have trusted in his gut instincts, but it kind of highlighted some of the insecurities that I wouldn't have thought he would have, but it highlighted that he did have some lingering insecurities, which is probably what contributed to him getting, blamed.
Yeah, when man was talking about his limited bloodline, I was like, oh. I was like, you good? I started to sound like you need counselling still, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's a bit too late because I'm about to die. But if you had time, counselling would have been a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I think it was pretty good. I think it was amazing. Like, I think one of my favorite panels in Jujutsu Kaisen, I think was just massively shown in an anime. I think I could talk so much about Toji and his mentality, because sometimes I always think like Toji might be like the perfect mirror to who Geto is. I mean, so Geto Toji almost impacts that kind of mentality into Geto when he's like, you know what, you got beat by a monkey, bro. And from then on, Geto's calling people monkeys, bro. So I think he was sometimes I think he's a true mirror. He has the you know what, I want to be, he has the kind of insecurities of like people who have curse techniques and other disabilities, and he's just like a man in a bit, which was kind of opposite to what Geto thinks like you think. It's like, no, we are the ones, bro. These people who have no curse techniques, bun them. Even though Jujutsu, there's nothing for you in this world. So I think it's a perfect mirror sometimes, and his mentality and everything. You know, he's like, you know what? He went through it in the Zenin clan, and you could see it play now. Because, like Rigel said, if it was me, I'm running away, bro. I am. As soon as my head says something is wrong, like, you know what? It's been good. I already got paid. I'm not staying here, bro.
For real, the job is
There's
done.
nothing here for me. So I think that was beautifully done. And Gojo, what can we say, man? He was just feeling himself too much. The confidence. No, he literally thought he was a god at that point, and no one could tell him otherwise because he was that guy. You get a bit of insight to why Toji knows so much about the techniques, because we've not seen anyone before and even now really explain how Gojo does his stuff except from himself. So the fact that Toji knew that because he was part of the 3 big clans, and he knew about the Limitless Eyes and the Void and everything. But so there's a specific technique that nobody knows of, even among the big 3 clans, and that's purple. And when Gojo did that, he was blamed. But before we get into like the purple and the impact on Toji's death, I want to ask you guys about the direction of the episode in general, because I thought it was really good when it went from Gojo turning up and like the heavens almost opening to like signal the arrival of a god. I think it was really well done. What do you think about the direction of the episode as a whole, from the start to even the very end? We'll go Daniel first.
Yeah, I agree. I think even when we had like Geto versus Toji, you could tell that the direction in that was very strong. Just the individual scenes where they're just talking and the walking. I liked the scene when he's walking on the ceiling and then Geto goes to shoot him, and then because he's the invisible man, it switches, and then Toji's just in the background, and then Geto just turns around because he's like, he couldn't sense that he was actually behind him instead of on top. But yeah, even in the Gojo versus Toji scenes, it was really dynamic. The expressions were on point, and also the background music. I think that was probably the highlight of the episode for me. I think the tracks they chose, they all fit, and I think they chose tracks that I didn't expect them to choose, and it kind of gave the fight a different atmosphere, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, agreed. Roger, what do you think?
Yeah, likewise. I was definitely deeply impressed. I think it brought a lot of further details regarding like characterizations, and really letting us as a viewer really understand or comprehend the significance of the moment, or how people are like really feel, and how a lot of things have impacted this current feeling and this current space. And it's crazy to think all those things are happening in real time so rapidly, but just how it was directed, some moments just made it feel like it was a long time just dwelling on, like, just for us to understand something deeper or understand the aspect of this. It also, like, the scale between obviously Gojo and Toji, and how it was showcased, apparently how he was always looking up, and the point of view aspect was also a very good take, just showing like the difference. And when you compare it to the previous fights, when they were on like a level playing field, and it was like obviously on the ground mostly, it just shows how like Gojo has elevated somehow. Like, he's a different being. He's not the same Gojo that's standing in front of us. So definitely great directing overall.
Yeah, very well said. I agree with both of you. I mean, especially the point about being on different levels now, literally and figuratively. He was literally on a higher level than what he was before. It was not a same playing field anymore, and it was just beautiful. Same thing with the Geto and Toji fight. It was just great. Which is hard to understand why some people didn't like this episode. Hard to believe, but I think it was really well done, and I give my props to the producers of this season so far. They've been amazing, and kudos to them. It was really, really good. But finally, we see, after one of the best quotes in Jujutsu Kaisen, above everyone heads, I don't know, I'm the honored one. We see purple, and we see we would even say the impact. We just see holes basically until he zooms out and we see that Toji is now half a donut basically, and
That's so wild.
he joined the gang of donuts, but he was just half eaten, and it was shocking because when I flipped the page in the manga, I was like, oh, that was easy, and he was just gone. And like Rajel said before, we don't have the reverse technique, bro. When there's a hole in you, you're gone. I think it was brutal, and even when you see Toji like trying to touch his arm and it just goes in, and Caesar, it's like, yo, yeah, I'm done. But it was brutal. It was crazy. Then we also get like a reverse, like any final words, and and Toji says no, none. But he thought about his son, and finally he decided to be a good father at one point, and said, you know what, my son's gonna be sold off to the Zen clan in 3 years. Do what you will with that information. And the son is speaking about his Megami. But what do you think about the whole ending of that fight with Toji's death and everything? And most importantly, the question I want to ask is, do you think he left an impact, even though we're just experiencing for like basically 4 episodes, even barely? So yeah, I'll go down first.
Yeah, I think he's definitely impactful, because even to this day, I mean, manga readers, you have people who are just Toji stans, and I think the reason he made an impact is because of maybe just the what he did, obviously, because he's the first person to beat Gojo, and the way he did it as well. And then he kind of just offered something different, where most people had curse techniques, and he was just doing this with just hands, tactics, and cunning ability. So I think he was a really enjoyable character when he was on the screen and when he was on the page. And in his final moments, I thought we got a different layer to him. We got to see some of his motivations, and I kind of liked how he thought about Megami. He was thinking about blessings, and then he was like, oh, my son. And then he was like, okay, he was thinking about his upbringing in the Zenin clan, and he didn't want to bring his son into that. So it kind of made me wish we got to see his relationship with the mom, because I want to know what impact she had on him, but we didn't get to see that. So, but yeah, Toji, he showed that he's got insecurities about being the reject of the clan, but he also wants better for his kid as well.
Yeah, it was touching a little bit. But Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I love Toji. I loved every moment. Not only has he inspired the physique that I want to work towards, and I will be following. I might be one of those people in 5 years looking like Toji. You never know.
The V shape.
The V, crazy shape. You're different, Toji. But also he seemed like a villain that you could have real empathy for, because you feel like, even though obviously evil things you do is a choice, it felt like he's been fighting a losing battle his whole life, and he has then committed to a lifestyle that best benefits him and stuff like that. Just everything, the atmosphere he brings, the confidence, this just great ability, his intellect. It's crazy that this guy's a reject. Like how can this guy be a reject, bro? Man bodied Gojo. Like, that's crazy. So he's left a big impact, not only on me, but definitely, as Daniel said, the series, and with the people that really gravitate to just how cool he is. There's coolness value that you have. And also, I would have loved to get to know him more, because even I felt like his relationship with his agent was very wholesome. Like, there were some moments when, they were showing the comedic elements, like his reaction. Like, when they were both reacting to the one of the cult leader people, saying, "Oh, this guy, he's crazy." And they were looking at each other like, he's crazy, bro. He looks like Toji just looks like he's just a cool guy. He just wants to have a laugh and just chill, and you know what I mean? So that's the kind of aspect I was like, oh my days, I can't believe we're not gonna get to see that. because I know that guy has bands. I know he has bags of bands. He'd probably be a great gym partner. But yeah, man, he's gonna be thoroughly missed, man. Or by me.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy, like the kind of discrimination that's received in the Jujutsu, the doctor role. For someone who's so larger than life to be seen as a reject is crazy. And it hasn't changed much, because even in recent times you see it happening with Maki and her sister. So it's crazy, but like the boys said, it's very impactful. People still now say Toji's forever in the top 5 strongest characters in the series. Highly rate him, and you can't blame them from what we've seen so far this season. So it was really good. But finally, we come to the end of the episode, and we get kind of I thought it was eerie in the manga, and even more so now when there's the music and sound, the clapping of them just clapping for Gojo, carrying a dead body out, and it's just like, oh my god, she's finally dead, bro. It was a weird. I couldn't explain it. I was a bit confused when I was reading it. So why they clapping, bro? So there's that. I also see Geto is back. He's been healed by our doctor, and yeah, it was just a weird feeling. And they had a discussion about, should we kill them? Because the coach is like, I wouldn't feel anything if we killed him right now. And Geto's like, nah, there's no point. Even then, he hasn't quite lost himself yet, which is quite interesting. It's like, nah, there's no point. It is what it is. Then you kind of see both of them contemplating it, and we see it finish. So what do you guys think about that? Go Rajel first.
W episode. I think they should have killed them still. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just gonna say it as it is. I was there maybe because it's after a long day and I'm not feeling really lenient. But I was like, you man, body them one more time. Let me see purple. One more time. Let me see that lean. Maybe red. Mix it up. I don't really care. A couple cursed spirits jumping out somewhere. I don't mind that combo. I would have loved that. But maybe it's a good thing they didn't. Maybe it would have played on. You don't know how Gojo, after he gets out of this mode that he's currently in, the thoughts and reaction to the things he's done in the moments where he has been larger than life, or in that blissful kind of nonchalant, not feeling anything moment. So maybe it's good they didn't. And overall, great episode. I'm excited to see the development. Gojo just seems like a different guy now. I want to see how he kind of balances this out and becomes the person we know him to be.
Yes, sir. Agreed. Don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought that final scene was very fitting as the start of what you think is going to be the sense of evil for Geto. You see him slowly starting to crack when he sees the first cursed spirit, and then when he enters the church or wherever they're in, and then just the clapping is just very eerie. And you've got Gojo holding the dead body. It's just sad, so many emotions, and he still has the rationality to be like, oh, we can't kill them. And I think that's probably a decision that saved Gojo in the long run, because if he had killed them, then he probably would have just been a different person later on in life. So but it's just sad. It's just sad. You can kind of see he's just starting to crack in that moment when he's just hearing them clapping, and he's just like, these are the people we're trying to protect, and they're just celebrating a dead girl.
Yeah, it was crazy, because even before, when he was fighting Toji, he said no, he didn't feel enough feelings or emotions about her dying. But I think at that moment, just all came rushing back, and the fact both of them, Gojo and Geto, held himself not to kill them was surprising reading it, because I know I would have purple, green. I would have made more colors, bro.
Man said the rainbow. That's my
rainbow, bro. The Skittles, all over you guys. But the fact they had restraint, and I think I was even especially more surprised for Geto. And like you said, Daniel, I think if Gojo went down that rabbit hole, it would have been a very, very different character. So yeah, it's been a great little arc. Hidden inventory is finally done and dusted. It's over. We're going to start moving on to other parts now, and it's gonna be interesting. There's more to come. Surprisingly, there's only been 4 episodes, bro. There's only been 4 episodes, and it's been great. And I can tell all of us enjoy this mini arc and this episode specifically. So, but yeah, I think if you guys have nothing else to say, this is the end for us. And thank you guys for listening to us, ramble on about one of our favorite series, and they're doing it justice and the anime. We're happy for that. As always, guys, we're always on social medias: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, at the AK Mindset, and obviously on YouTube too. And Spotify, we're there as well. So listen to us every week. The AK update. There's so much content coming out from you guys. So thank you guys for listening to us, and have a wonderful day. See you guys later. Deuces.
Peace.
Bye.